In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some Halo Infinite leaks and rumors. We're also going to be looking at how the developers have reacted to people's reactions on the armor coding system. And we're also going to discuss some of the Halo MCC news and briefly touch on Halo 5, so stick around. Now, the following information can be found over at the econotimes.com, and of course they lead off with the headline of Halo Infinite release date gameplay, devs aim between March and June is the current plan, leak claims. Now, a barrage of supposedly leaked information about Halo Infinite emerged online recently, claiming that the developer 343 is currently aiming for the first half of 2021 for a release date. Meanwhile, the huge multiplayer mode with 45v45 format is rumored to be billed as the upcoming title's main mode for the multiplayer. It was highly expected that the Microsoft next generation console, the Xbox Series X, would release with Halo Infinite as its launch. However, 343 announced, of course, in August that the game's release had been moved to 2021. The studio cited several reasons for the timeline being changed. However, the included adjustments are, of course, caused by the something 19 that we can't talk about. And the studio head wrote that it is not sustainable for the well-being of the team or the overall success of the game for this holiday. To this date, 343 has yet to provide a more specific window for Halo Infinite, but online leaks claim that despite the lack of a final date, the developer is currently aiming to deliver the game sometime between March and June of 2021. This is not the first leak, supposedly giving more information about the Halo Infinite release date delay that was announced previously. There was another rumor that made the online rounds claiming that the game is slated to be released in 2022, but that was quickly dismissed by 343 community manager John, and he told fans on Twitter there are no plans to change the 2021 release date or the devices of the platforms that they will be supporting. The more recent round of leaks also made claims about the gameplay plans for Halo Infinite. For one, upcoming game reported is to mainly be featuring a multiplayer game type of 45v45, where players would either play as part of the UNSC or the mercenary group The Banished. Developer 343 also is rumored to be working on a battle royale game set in the Zeta Halo, aka Installation 07, where the events of Halo Infinite will also occur. It is also worth noting that before the release date was delayed, fans spotted on the upcoming game's genre was listed as a battle royale shooting by the Japanese website. The new leak mentions the battle royale game is referring to the would-be free-to-play game, but it did not cite whether it planned as post-launch DLC for Halo Infinite or a standalone release. These leaks are also interesting, but the original posters have no verifiable track records, and fans should take them at face value and read it through with the large amount of salt. Moving on to our next story. Recently, 343 has unveiled more of the armor coding system, and instead of being able to give a comprehensive and understandable explanation or video, they decided to post a very small paragraph on Halo Waypoint in a blog, and they also took to Twitter and still haven't really given a very clear explanation of what the armor coding system is going to be. As far as we know, the armor coding system has taken the place of the standard primary and secondary color, and that has fans in an uproar. So let's go ahead and take a look here. This article can be found at GameSpot.com, and the headline reads, Halo Infinite devs react to turtling up criticism. It's been a busy year for Halo Infinite as Microsoft has showed off the first look at the campaign mode in July before announcing in August that the multiplayer element would be free. Another announcement came very recently when 343 outlined the new codings customization feature for the sci-fi shooter, but some parts of the Halo player fanbase were expecting to have seen and learned about more of the game at this point. The Halo community manager, John, has responded to a fan on Twitter who said Microsoft has been turtling up in regards to Halo Infinite. His comment reads, Hey Craig, I would disagree on the turtling comment. We just explained what codings are, showed off 2 new renders, and followed up with clarifications here on Twitter. Yes, this may be different news than what you might have hoped for, but it certainly isn't turtling. They certainly haven't shared enough news about Halo Infinite since the July release. And the fact that, yeah, they've shown off a couple of renders, they've kind of explained what armor coatings are, even though they really didn't. And in the article with them explaining what the armor coatings are, the guy even says, look, I understand that this isn't a good explanation and it's hard to wrap your mind around in a blog post. And then he went to Twitter to try to clarify it more and just made things more confusing. Talking about the armor coatings and the way they did, essentially, to me, is the same as if they didn't say anything at all, because it doesn't clarify anything. All it does is actually highlight something that they're taking away from the game, they're taking away from the community, and that is just the standard option that has been in every Halo game to customize your primary and your secondary color. If you guys haven't seen my video on it yet already, go ahead and check that out. I'm going to have that linked down in the description below, and it's essentially titled that 343 Kills Classic feature, if you guys are interested in my more in-depth thoughts on the actual news article that he put out here. We're going to go ahead and move into the next news article, and this is the Halo collection is upgrading to 120 FPS on the Xbox Series X. That is the MCC. The Halo the Master Chief Collection will be fully optimized for Series X and Series S, and the upgrades will come free to anyone who already owns the game. The subscribers to Game Pass and people that own it will get it on November 17th, and the MCC has been part of the library since 2018. The upgrades mean all of the included games will run at 120 frames per second in both single player and the multiplayer, with split screen improvements and support for up to 4K resolutions on Xbox Series X. Developer 343 Industries said back in August that all versions would soon receive keyboard and mouse support and cross-platform capability. I have been testing that out in the most recent PC flight, and it works very well. Now, while Halo 5 isn't getting any Series X upgrades, it does currently have the Xbox One X upgrades. It adds in 4K and, of course, adds in faster loading times. So I assume that those upgrades are going to go ahead and transfer over. So if you've only ever played Halo 5 on the base Xbox One console, you're going to be getting a small upgrade, but it isn't a upgrade designed for the Series X. Now, Halo 5 will also have the auto HDR added in with the Series X, which of course is going to make the colors and the shade of gray and black and bring the brightness out as well. I mean, that's what the HDR does. So you can at least look forward to that. So while it's not getting the same kind of upgrades, it is somewhat getting a small boost to visual and loading times as well. So you will have something small to look forward to if you're going to be playing Halo 5 on the Series X. Now, moving on to our last and final story, and this is just a small one here, and a good thing that it did not happen. Guillermo del Toro's Halo movie might have given the Master Chief a twin. This article can be found at pcgames.com, and the article reads as follows. A Halo movie has been in various stages of production with some of the biggest names in Hollywood attached to it for over 15 years. Back in the mid-2000s, Pan's Labyrinth and The Shape of the Water director Guillermo del Toro was looking to adapt the FPS game, and his ideas were creative. No, they were bad, to say the least. The revelation comes from discussing featuring several Halo developers in 2001's Halo Combat Evolved with IGN. Marcus Leto, Marty O'Donnell, and Paul Russell and Paul Baritone and Jamie Grismer will all take part in the conversation while all reacting to a speedrun by Halo speedrunner Garnish Goblin. The expected stories and tidbits on the development of the original are traded, but towards the end, Russell delivers an inside scoop on Del Toro's vision for the Halo film. According to him, the Hellboy and Crimson Peak filmmaker wanted to give Master Chief a twin that would have defected and joined the Flood. Master Chief had a twin brother, and the twin brother sided with the Flood, Russell explains. And then at the end of the movie, it was going to be brother against brother. Russell elaborates that Del Toro pitched his idea to what's presumed to be Joseph Staten, Combat Evolved's writer and cinematic director, at Staten's house. Del Toro was pitching this to Joe at his house, and he was punching Joe in the arm going, and they're brothers, and they're going to fight at the end. Nobody else in the video can confirm or deny what happened, but Russell's adamant that he can find someone to back him up. It sounds like it was just an idea, something that Del Toro was thinking about. The Oscar winner did not put together a script with D.B. Weiss, Game of Thrones, but eventually left the nascent Halo project to do Hellboy 2, The Golden Army in 2006 or so. So, I mean, it is really good. I mean, this would have been an awful, awful twist. The Master Chief having a twin. Like, this just goes to show you that Hollywood knows absolutely nothing about video games, and that people that are just in the Hollywood scene do not deserve, nor should they ever be able to lay their hands on a video game adaptation. They always, 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 always need to have someone who's directly involved with the game making these movies. But as always, don't forget, in order to be part of the conversation and have your voice heard, hit that subscribe button and leave me a comment in the section down below. If you guys are new around here, don't forget to check out some of my previous videos. I upload content weekly. Don't forget to check out the links in the description. I've got my social media, and of course, support for the channel is there as well. But until next time, everyone, thank you all for joining me here today, and I'll see all of you in the next video.